Hi, I'm Jennifer, and thank you for watching Minimalist My Way. This episode is going to be just a brief overview about what minimalism is. If you've never heard of it before, you may have an idea in your head about what it is, but typically that's based on the extreme minimalism practices, because that's what makes the news, because regular minimalists are kind of boring. I love that. But so the very short definition of minimalism in my perspective is just living a better life with less. So in other words, taking through the philosophy that you don't need gobs and gobs and gobs of possessions, and that actually getting rid of a lot of your possessions can make your life better. And there's a lot of ways that I believe that it can make your life better. Those ways could be improved mental health, because being overwhelmed with possessions and items that we have to clean, maintain, step over, store, can be very stressful. Also, if those things are sentimental, whether they're pictures or items that belonged to family members who are no longer with us, or that we just find sentimental for one reason or another, that can be stressful, especially if the things are packed away in a box. You may feel some guilt that you're not appreciating the things or using the things, or at least seeing the things on a daily basis. And you may be thinking of that person and that's not the way you want to honor them. That can be very overwhelming and stressful. And minimalism is a way to help cope with that. Minimalism can also be looked at through a financial lens. So, for example, if you get rid of a lot of your possessions, you could do so by either donating them, which could be a tax write-off, or selling them through a garage sale or Facebook Marketplace, something like that, where you're actually making a little bit of money on these things that are excess in your life. You don't need them; they're not serving any purpose, and therefore you can recoup a little bit of the money back that you spent on the items brand new. There's also an environmental aspect to minimalism, where if you are consuming fewer items, and then at a certain point because you're buying fewer items, that means you are disposing of fewer items, less in the landfill, less things that you have to worry about whether they're being recycled properly or not when you're throwing them in the bin. Also with that, and kind of financial too, is clothing. If you are buying clothing just secondhand, that could also be a financial, you're buying less clothing, obviously, because if you're a minimalist, you're going to buy less. But then also if you're buying used, that is cheaper. So the financial aspect. And then from the environmental stance, secondhand clothing obviously is going to be something that you're going to use rather than it just going to a landfill. So it's a simple concept that is very, very complicated. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Where you may have a definition of minimalism in your head could be, again, like I said, the extreme versions of minimalists. People who believe in only owning like a ridiculous a number of possessions. I have 35 possessions. I carry my toothbrush, and I don't have a home or a car, and that's just what minimalism is to me. Okay, to me that would stress me out because I need a house, I need transportation, I need more than just a toothbrush. But this is Minimalist My Way. So if that is what you are striving for, to be minimalist your way, you go for it. But that is not the only way you can be minimalist. But that may have been what you have seen online or on TV or whatever, because those people absolutely do exist. The tiny house movement is really up and coming, and I enjoy watching videos on that, even though I do not believe that I could ever survive super happily in a tiny house. We're talking, 150 to 400 square feet. just literally a tiny house where everything has multiple purposes, and you own 10 pieces of clothing because that's all you can fit in this bin that goes into your bed or whatever. Those are neat. Those are really cool environmentally. I think they're awesome. That's not me, at least not at this point in my life. So if that's not you, don't worry about that. You're fine. The other form of minimalism that I have seen that kind of stresses people out is simply aesthetics. So if you are looking at a beautiful artsy photograph of someone's living room online, and it literally has, the walls are stark white and the furniture is stark white, and there's like one chair in the whole room, and they're like, look, it's so minimalist. Yeah, it is. It's minimalist because there's not much there. Is that comfortable? Is that the way you want to live? If it is, go for it. That's awesome. Less to clean. You could really spend a lot of money to get the perfect chair. If that's the only piece of furniture you own, that's great. But again, not me. I have couches and chairs and recliners and kitchen table, and I have everything, that most people have. And that doesn't mean I can't be a minimalist. I am. The other thing that I have heard of is like in your kitchen, like even in your pantry, when you open up the doors, everything has to be either monochromatic, where it's just black or white or gray. So like dishes and everything matches, and there's only a few of each. And then even when you open your food pantry, you would have, some people have posted photos where they take the labels off of all of the cans of food so that when you look in, it's just these shining aluminum cans, and they like write on the top what it is so you can still tell, but they don't want all the different colored labels to be cluttering up the minimalist view. Again, if you have the time to take off all the labels off of your cans and write on them, because when you open your pantry you want that look, go for it. That's, again, not me, and that's fine if that's not you. So again, extreme versions, go for it if you want to, but my version is basically just living your best life through having fewer things. So And that being said, minimalism is a lifestyle. It's not a set of tasks. So, like, for example, the difference between dieting and making a lifestyle change and eating a healthier diet. So dieting, usually it's Monday morning and you got on the scale and you're not excited about what you saw. So you're going to start dieting. Okay, so these are the things I do, and then when you lose the amount of weight that you want, or when your will gives out, like mine, you stop the diet. The diet has an end. So if you can make a lifestyle choice where you're eating more healthy foods to hopefully lose weight, that's something that you are intending to do for a very long time. Not just, well, when I get to my goal weight, I'm going to stop. You're intending to eat healthy for the foreseeable future. That's more what minimalism is. It's not, well, when I clean out my closet, I'm done. And when you do it, you will be so amazed at how much more you can do. So if you clean out your closet once, you're going to see a big difference. You're going to have, those garbage bags full of clothes that you're going to sell or donate. You're going to have, the trash bag full of things that were stained and ripped and can't be donated and can't be used again, that you can, turn into rags or throw in the trash or whatever. And you're going to think, wow, look at what a big difference this makes. All these clothes in here, I love them. I wear them all the time. They all fit me great. They're in style. I love it. And I guarantee you, 2 months later, you will be able to do it all again. You will look in your closet and say, boy, I haven't worn this in 2 months, or this or that, or these shoes started hurting my feet, or I slopped coffee down my front, and now I need to get rid of that shirt, but I never did. It's amazing that just having the mindset of I want to own only those things that will make my life better and easier and less stressful, how much that changes, even in a short period of time. So don't go into minimalism thinking that you're going to do these X, Y, and Z things and then you'll be done. Because it's really not that way. It's something that you have to maintain and something that you apply to a lot of different areas of your life. It's been really powerful for me. I'm just looking at my notes. If you do try to do a more minimalist lifestyle, I would think about why. Why do you want to do this? Do you just like the aesthetics of walking into a room and there's minimal furniture and everything is a similar color and that really relaxes you? I'm a very visual person and I do like that aesthetic. I don't have any areas in my house that are that aesthetic, but I do like that in theory. Is that your reason why you want to do this? Are you literally purging your house of excess things so that you can redecorate and make it very minimalist because that's what you like for your, and it increases your mental health and reduces your stress? That's fine. If that's your why, make sure you are going into it with that mindset. My big one is definitely reducing anxiety. When I see stacks of things, when I have something that doesn't have a designated place where it lives and it just ends up on my counter or on my dining room table and it's not supposed to be there, those kinds of things stress me out. It also stresses me out when I know I have something and I can't find it. And it just makes me crazy to either look for an hour because I won't give up because I know I saw that somewhere, or give up, go to the store, spend however much money to buy a new one just because I can't find the old one. That's infuriating to me. I hate spending the extra money and I hate spending the extra time. To me, time and money are both very, very important. I spend a lot of my time at a job making money because I have to have money for things in my life. And I like to use minimalism so that I can make my money and my time go toward the things that I want to do and I want to spend money on, rather than things like that are excess. I didn't need to spend that money and I didn't need to spend that time if I only knew where the item was that I was looking for and I could find it very, very quickly. And when I started to do that, where I went through my things, I put like with like, and I started figuring out where I would go look for something. If I need duct tape, where am I going to go look for that? Am I going to look in the garage, or am I going to look in my toolbox that I keep in the house? Am I going to look in the junk drawer? Am I going to look, at certain times I've kept duct tape in all of those different places. So just being able to go through and decide where things go, that made my mental health a lot better. And that was kind of my main focus. Since then, I've really branched out and gone kind of an environmental direction. There is a lot of waste that is produced by people on a daily basis, myself certainly included in that. And I tried to start doing things in a minimalist way to reduce my impact on the environment. If you don't buy as much stuff, then they're not going to make as much stuff, and there's not going to be that manufacturing waste. There's not going to be, if you buy things secondhand, there's not going to be the things that go into the landfill. If you use reusable shopping bags at the grocery store, you're going to save that plastic from you using it, and they can use it on someone else instead. So that really appeals to me, but it certainly I didn't even realize that in the beginning that would be a thing. So now I'm starting to get into that. And I enjoy that. And again, the financial aspect is a big deal for me. I don't like spending my time having to work a lot of hours just to be able to meet my minimum budget requirements. I like to have extra money. I like to put extra money toward savings or paying on bills that I have that are outstanding. so that I can feel better mentally. So, and minimalism can be used for that as well. If you are buying fewer things, if you're consuming fewer goods, you're going out to eat less, perhaps you're buying fewer clothes, or at least clothes that aren't as expensive. If you're borrowing tools instead of buying new because you think, I'm going to use this all the time, and you really won't. There's a lot of different ways that minimalism can help from a financial aspect. So before you start your minimalism journey, I would have that be the first step, is to figure out why you are really wanting to do this. And if it is the stress, like it was for me, you're going to want to start with your home, your car, your office, the places that you are the most. And you're going to want to start with the things that bother you the most. If it's your kitchen, because you can never find anything, you're always buying extra utensils because you can never find the ones are in there somewhere. If you've got 89 appliances that you got years ago that you've never once used, if that's where the area where every time you walk into it, you're just like you just put blinders on because you're like, I just can't even look. It's stressing me out. That's where you're going to want to start. If you're wanting to do minimalism from a financial or environmental standpoint, you may want to start somewhere different, just depending on what you want to do and what your goals are. So I would definitely think about that. If you want to learn more about minimalism, there are a lot of places that you can go. I'll start with the obvious, theminimalists.com. The Minimalists themselves are named Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. And they're basically friends from Ohio that climbed the corporate ladder and figured out that gobs of money don't make you happy. And having credit card debt also does not make you happy. Even if you're making a lot of money, that's not what produces happiness. But a lot of us think that it is. Myself, I certainly was included in that. So they backed off from that. They paid off all of their debt. They started the Minimalist.com, and they've toured the country several times. I think they've been doing it over 10 years at this point. They have a great blog. They've got great videos on YouTube. They've written several books that are very helpful. They have free downloads and free ebooks on their website. They're very good at producing resources for people who want to be more minimalist. Especially if you're a woman, but I would say everybody, another resource is Courtney Carver, and she can be found at BeMoreWithLess.com. And Courtney is a minimalist, but her area of focus is fashion. She created Project 333. You may have heard of that. She writes books. She has a podcast, all of that stuff as well. But her main focus is fashion, because when you think minimalist, you think you're going to wear, I have a gray top on today. I was going to say you're going to wear drab gray clothes every single day and the same exact thing every single day. And she proved that no. And Project 333 is you can have 33 items of clothing, and I believe that includes jewelry and shoes. And for 3 months, you wear only those 33 items of clothing, and no one will notice. That's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, I have a pair of black pants and a pair of tan pants. Everybody's going to notice that I'm only wearing black or tan pants all the time. And I have 6 tops and I have 3 blazers, and okay, I'm mixing them up, but people are going to say, ugh, she's not in fashion or whatever. And it is really surprising that nobody notices. Nobody knows but you what you're doing, and you look fine. Whether you're going out at night, whether you're going to work, or whether you're just being casual at home, you can survive with a lot fewer clothing items than what you ever thought possible. So if you're having issues with that, she would be a great resource for cutting down your wardrobe in an appropriate way, and a way that is sustainable, and you're gonna like it moving forward. Leo Babauta, he is another one that has been a minimalist for a long time. You can find him at leobabauta.com. His last name is Babauta, and Leo is just Leo. He is vegan, so he's got that. He does that for the environment and everything, and he's a minimalist, and he also has 6 children. So if you are trying to be minimalist with a family and you think that's impossible, that's, my kids have thousands of toys and they're never going to get rid of them, and that would be a great resource for somebody who's trying to do this with a family. Joshua Becker as well, and he can be found at becomingminimalist.com. He has written several books that I have. He also has children. His story on how he started to be a minimalist, it breaks my heart every time. I love it. But basically he had some time off of work. I don't know if it was a weekend or whatever. And he went out into the garage and I'm going to finally clean out the garage. There's totes of junk I haven't used in years. There's, this and this, and there's so much, I got to get out there and do it. And so he starts. In the midst of this, his son comes out and says, hey, I'd really like to play with you. Let's play baseball or whatever. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I can't. I've got to get this done. I've set aside this time to get this done. Son goes away sad. Neighbor comes over. Hey, saw what you were doing. He kind of breaks down and says, I've just had to tell my son I can't deal with all this stuff. And it's taking time away from my family. And the lady was just like, then get rid of it. And this light bulb, I picture this light bulb above his head going off and saying, I am wasting my time organizing all this stuff that I really don't need anyway, and it's literally taking time away from quality time with my children. For him, I think it was a no-brainer that he just all of a sudden came to. I just love the story. And most of these people have very similar stories where something's happened, a health scare, or just something like that, where they've just realized this stuff is not worth it. And it's stressing me out. And it's costing me money. And, everything. So he's a fun one. He is more of a Christian, so he focuses on minimalism through a little more of a religious lens. So if you are a person like that, that might be a really good resource for you. The next one I have, it's shelbizzle.com. It's SHELBIZZLEEE.com. Her name is Shelby, and she is what she has coined an eco-minimalist. So her background is in the environment and processes that have to do with that. And so she uses minimalism to help the environment, create less waste, things like that. So if one of your goals is, or one of your reasons for doing minimalism is the environment, she would be a fantastic resource to start with. She has great videos on YouTube. She has great things on her website. You can get on her email list. It's great. I really enjoy her content as well. Then there's a couple other ones. Mr. Money Mustache. I'll say that one again. Mr. Money Mustache. He is not a minimalist. He would not say he's a minimalist, but he comes at everything from a financial point of view. So he talks a lot about, things people spend money on that are just ridiculous, and how you're losing so much money if you're doing X, Y, and Z, and then how to make your money work for you rather than you working for it. And he is a big proponent of early retirement. He retired, I believe, in his 30s. He might have even been younger than that. I don't know. I'm going to say early 30s. Kind of a similar situation. He had a family, and he was like, I want to spend time raising my child rather than time at work, so that I can work to pay for things and services that I don't need. And that's exactly what he did. He buckled down. He worked for several years, got a huge nest. Well, he got all of his debt down, you know, to where he could have a lot of his income go to savings, saved up a big amount in an investment account, and basically lives off of that and only works when it suits him, basically, because he has enough money to take care of his minimal expenses that he's gotten his expenses down to from that investment account that he worked on saving for years. So not a minimalist, but check him out. He only has a website, I believe. I don't think he has like a blog or, well, I mean, it is a blog, but I don't think he has YouTube things or anything else. But he's great, and he's really funny to read his stuff. It's really enjoyable. Another one to check out is Colin Wright. That's Wright. And he is kind of a minimalist from way back, and he is an extreme minimalist. And he kind of inspired the minimalists, Josh and Ryan, to do what they do now. So he's kind of the OG minimalist, I guess. But he's one of those guys that's like, hey, I own, 30 things. They all fit in this backpack. So he always wanted to travel, but he had never even left the state that he was born in, I believe. And he was just like, life is too short. I can't, if I continue to work a 9-to-5 job, I'm never going to travel, at least not the way I want to. So he quit his job. He has a laptop that he does online work on whenever he can, saved up money, and he travels to well, he doesn't anymore. I believe he's stationed in the United States now, but he went abroad and he would settle somewhere and live like a local. So no living in hotels. He would actually get, like a little, stay with a family or get a little apartment or whatever in whatever city he was in, live there for 3 months. And then he let his website followers choose his next destination. So if they said Amsterdam, he moved to Amsterdam. If they said China, he moved to China. He said Australia, if they said Australia, he moved to Australia. And he did this for several years, where every 3 to 6 months, he would travel somewhere new, of not his choosing, and live there. So, like I said, there are so many different ways to be a minimalist. I encourage you to, if it's an idea that intrigues you, I encourage you to research and watch videos and read blogs and find out why you want to be more minimalist. And then you can start looking at how to start and how to become, incorporate some of these practices into your life. Understanding that it is not a system of tasks, it is a lifestyle. And also understanding you can do this with a family, you can do this with a spouse, but you cannot make people change. There are horror stories all over the internet about, I went minimalist and so I threw out all this junk that was my husband's and then he got mad. And it's like, yeah. So do not encroach upon other people's stuff. If it's theirs, they need to decide to part with it in their own way. So this is kind of one of those things where it may be harder, but you have to just kind of lead by example, and people will come along. It happens. It happens. So please don't throw away all of your husband's, golf trophies or whatever, because he's going to be mad at you. And then he's going to be mad at me. But I told you not to do it, so he can't. But anyway, so that's just kind of a brief overview of what minimalism is and how to kind of get started in it, and some resources to allow you to do so. I appreciate you watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you would. And please leave a comment. If you have a question for me, I certainly can, I will respond and try and help you out the best that I can with the experience that I've had. All right, everybody have a great day. Thanks.